Welcome back to the program. So first and foremost, people are asking me, Josh, why aren't I talking about the Epstein files being released and the new law that President Trump signed? Well, it's because I'm waiting for tomorrow night for Full Throttle Thursday so I can hear from all of you. And yes, we will be discussing that extensively. We're also going to have a new guest on hand as well to join us, so looking forward to that as well. But a couple of things. So a lot of people are talking about James Comey, and they're saying that James Comey is going to get off the hook and everything else. Not going to happen. First off, the judge, this Fitzpatrick judge, isn't even like a real judge. He's a magistrate, okay, basically, which is kind of way below level and was appointed by DC insiders and things like that. So he has basically, I don't know how to explain it. He's basically bastardized the case, even though the case is ironclad. It's completely put forward as this is what happened. He covered up this. He lied to Congress when he did this. He leaked information about that. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry, the case. So now they're trying to go after Lindsay Halligan because they say that somehow she's either not being forthcoming or that she was appointed wrong. I mean, it's just ridiculous what they're trying to do. If anything is to happen and they temporarily, throw out the case will probably be brought back. It'll probably be brought back, maybe even not in Washington, but rather in Florida for the criminal conspiracy. So I wouldn't worry about that right now, to be quite honest. It will be appealed if anything happens. So far, nothing has happened. But something did happen today, and guess what? It's in Florida, which means that a conviction eventually would certainly be something that I would predict would happen here. That is Congresswoman, this broke just about an hour ago, Congresswoman Sheila Cherfilis McCormick has been indicted for stealing $5 million in FEMA funds. Now, you've got to be a really depraved individual to take money from a fund that is put forward for people that are getting relief from a disaster. Okay, you are about the lowest form of life on earth if you're doing something like that. And apparently, that's exactly what this Democrat from Florida has done. Democrat Congresswoman Sheila Cherfilis McCormick was indicted by a federal grand jury for stealing $5 million in FEMA funds. According to the Justice Department, Rep. McCormick and her brother Edwin stole $5 million in FEMA funds and funneled it through different accounts in order to pay for her 2021 congressional campaign. Boy, so not only are you stealing funds from FEMA, but then you're money laundering those funds and you're putting those funds into your FEC, right? Your Federal Elections Commission, and that account and coffers. I mean, there is so many felonies here and so many things that this person has done to break the law. It's really incredible. Cherfilis McCormick is facing up to 53 years in prison if convicted. Using disaster funds for self-enrichment is a particularly loathsome, selfish, and cynical crime, said Attorney General Pam Bondi. No one is above the law, least of all powerful people who rob taxpayers for personal gain. We will follow the facts in this case and deliver justice. And then it talks about how this was done, again, in Florida. According to the indictment, McCormick, 46, and her brother, Edwin, both of Miramar, Florida, worked through their family's health care company. So again, money laundering, shell companies, racketeering would be in this as well. Not just the FEC violations, but of course, bilking a federal government agency in FEMA, whether they shut it down or not, doesn't matter. It's still around, right? It's in the process of being shut down. This is bad stuff. This is bad stuff for this Congresswoman. And they basically said that they used their family health care company and they took these FEMA-funded COVID-19 vaccination staffing contracts in 2021, and then in July of 2022, the company received an overpayment of $5 million in FEMA funds. The indictment alleges that the defendants conspired to steal that $5 million and route it through multiple accounts to disguise its source, in other words, shell companies. Prosecutors allege that a substantial portion of the misappropriated funds was used as the candidates' own contributions to their own 2021 congressional campaign and for personal benefit for the defendants. The indictment further alleges that McCormick and Nadege LeBlanc, 46, also of Miramar, Florida, arranged additional contributions using straw donors, so straw purchasing, funneling other money from the FEMA-funded COVID-19 contracts to their relatives and their friends, who then donated to the campaign using those funds. So then the funds, obviously, using that money, that stolen money from FEMA, from COVID, using that money through shell companies, laundering it, and then recycling it back into her campaign. Holy cow. Whoa, this is bad. This is really bad. My goodness. The indictment also charges Sherfilis McCormick and her 2021 tax preparer David K. Spencer, 41 years old, of Davie, Florida, with conspiring to file a false federal tax return. According to the indictment, they falsely claimed political spending and other personal expenses as business deductions and inflated charitable contributions in order to reduce her tax obligations. Whoa, this is bad news. Edwin Sherfilis, her brother, faces up to 35 years, LeBlanc up to 10 years, Spencer up to 33 years, the Department of Justice said, and the Congresswoman herself, who was the one behind the whole thing, devised the whole scam, could be looking, if convicted on all these charges, and there's quite a few of them in this indictment, 53 years in Congress. If this was to happen, and again, I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but if it was to happen, this would be the most amount of jail time by a sitting member of Congress. That is something to be proud of if you're a Democrat. And clearly, this woman is a black Democrat from a blue district in Florida, and she's going to be in trouble. But like I've always said before, what the Department of Justice does and why they have such a high conviction rate is real simple. Because they plea bargain. They want to keep that conviction rate as high as possible, and so they plea bargain. So what could this lady possibly plea bargain from 53 years down to? I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe 14 years to 22 years, something like that. But I think she's going to be in trouble for sure. I don't believe something like this is going to be thrown out. I mean, they got him dead to rights, okay? And as I was talking about with James Comey and Clapper and Brennan, all the rest of them, those convictions, or not convictions yet, but those indictments, they're going to end up in Florida. And as long as everything is funneled down to Florida, you have a shot at true convictions. If they're in Washington, D.C., you're not going to get convictions. It's mental masturbation. I'm just going to be honest. Because there's not a judge and there's not a jury in D.C. that are all 99.99999% Trump haters that would put any of these people in jail. So there's only one way to get these convictions. And that way, in my opinion, is to get it all down to Florida. And if you can wrap up the criminal conspiracy, which apparently they're still working on, I don't know what's taking them so long. I guess they're just doing it in a real meticulous way. But if you can do that, then you're going to see some convictions. Not all of these people are going to be convicted. Sadly, they should be. But I think a lot of them will. And even in the auto pen, the guy admitted on camera that he was going to be paid $4 million in the auto pen scandal if he helped get Biden, I call him, elected. And so there's that. Remember, as long as one person cracks, If one person cracks and starts speaking, now it opens up Pandora's box, and now you can pinpoint other people here and other people there and all over the place. So have no, worries yet. I know it's taken a while. I'm frustrated. You're frustrated. We're all frustrated. I get it. But let's just go a couple more months here and let's see what happens. Let's see what happens in January, February, March. And January, February, March, again, if the shutdown didn't happen, I think you would have seen a lot more action. And again, I'm not blaming it all on that, but I am blaming some of it on that as well. Because again, when I predicted that the quote golden age was going to start, and I'll keep reminding you because I want to make sure that people know that when I'm accurate and when I'm not, and most of the time I am accurate, I said November, December is when you might start to see the fruits of the labor of early January, February, March. But we had a shutdown. We had a shutdown for 41 or 42 days. That's a lot of time. That is a lot of time. So you got to add that back into it. So I'm thinking January, February, you might just see just a creep of goodness in the economy. But I think, again, you're looking at, sadly, May, June, July before you really start to see things, head in the right direction. And again, you can blame the Democrats. They shut down the government. They are using their judges to obstruct everything. They're doing anything and everything they can. And I want you all to understand something. Democrats have no power. They have nothing in the Senate. They have nothing in the House. But yet, they have all of these judges that for 4 years, the Auto Pen administration has put on all these benches. That's why, if you want to know the truth, the Auto Pen scandal is, in my opinion, more important than all the rest. Because if you can prove that he wasn't running the country, which clearly he was not, and you can get these, quote, pardons overturned, then that means you should also be able to get every single judge that he was, quote, confirmed and appointed. They're all illegitimate. All of these people are illegitimate. His entire cabinet was illegitimate as far as I'm concerned. And remember, they also found the burn bags from the 2020 election. So there's a lot of things moving around. It's a big, giant pot of shit. And they're stirring it and stirring it and stirring it. And things are popping up and popping up and popping out. And eventually, when that quote-unquote pot of crap is boiled and is ready, there's going to be a lot of crimes inside that swampy pot. And that's where I'm looking at it, and that's why I'm hoping that we're going to see some action in the beginning of 2026. Anyway, that's what I got. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.